All right, friends, this is lesson number 7. So you should be on page 26. You're there. It means you are almost finished with the geometry unit. Congratulations. So today we're going to get more specific about finding area. And remember, area is a space inside a shape. So there's actually 2 ways to find area. The first way is that you can count the squares. So the first way on this item, number 1, is that you could go through this and count the squares one by one that are on the inside, and that would give you your total area. Now, this is good, but sometimes there's not going to be squares. Sometimes you're going to need the second, which is to find the length times the height. So sometimes you may get a picture that looks like this. There are no squares for me to count here. So I'm going to have to take 4, which is my length, times my height. Put that in my calculator, and that will give me my answer. So we're going to look at a couple of these today together. So this first page, we can use we can just count the squares. There are squares on all of these, but sometimes there's a lot of squares, and that's hard. So we're probably never going to just count the squares. We are always going to use this equation method. So even when there are squares, we are always going to use the equation. So the first thing is to determine the length. Remember, length is this way. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times. Some of us are struggling with determining height. So remember, height goes up and down. So this is up and down, and it's just one row. So it is 1, 2. 6 times 2, I put that in my calculator, and my area is 12. Try this again. So remember, the equation is length times height. So length here is 1, 2, 3 times height, 1, 2, 3. So my equation is 3 times 3 equals 9. Alright, go ahead and flip to page 27, and we're going to look at that one together. Alright, so here's page 27. So again, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to be measuring length times height. If you're having a hard time remembering how to find area, I highly suggest that you write length times height at the top of your page. So you will solve all of page 27. Now let's look at page 28 together. Again, page 28 looks just like the other pages. And again, remember, if you're having a hard time remembering how to solve, I would write my equation at the top of my page. So, 28, you should be able to solve using the numbers they provided for you. Let's go ahead and flip to page 29 and look at it together. 29 is where it gets a little funkier. Okay? This is where we're going to get a little more into applying. So, look on number 2, it actually does want you to count the squares that are, so what is the total area of the shaded region? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, this one is a little trickier. So, if you don't understand, ask an adult, or see if you can figure it out, and then if you need help from an adult, ask. Same thing with page 20. I think this is actually 30. 1 second. Yep. Same thing with page 30. These are kind of harder questions, some trick questions. Not trick, but maybe more difficult because they're not perfect squares. So, see if you can figure them out. If you need help, feel free to ask an adult. Go ahead and look at page 31. Alright, so page 31, this is a perfect example of why we don't count the squares. Okay? Because if I counted all of these, I would probably forget how to count. There are too many squares here. So on this page especially, you need to make sure that at the top of your page you have written length times height, and then really make sure that, again, you are measuring. So my length is 4. My height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my problem is 4 times 6. I'm typing that in a calculator and it's telling you that it's 24. So at the bottom of each page, or when you finish a page, as always, you need to be having an adult check you out. I encourage you to go slow and take your time. This is some hard math, and you guys are doing awesome. So make sure you are paying attention to what you're doing so you're not making silly mistakes.